Thanks for tuning in to Phil Hulett and Friends. I suspect we're going to have a fascinating conversation here right now, so I'm glad you've tuned in. When I was in college, my father used to tell me to see the world, which I always took as a euphemism for date a bunch of women before you settle down with just one. Our next guest saw a ton of women and then decided to see the world in the literal sense. Former Playboy editor, world traveler, author of the book Around the World in 50 Years. See what I did there? Albert Podell is his name. Albert, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, and don't leave the impression that I gave up on the women when I went to see the world.
Oh, no. Okay, fine.
That was just an added benefit.
Still seeing the world. Obviously, you were traveling the world while you worked at Playboy because the math doesn't work out otherwise. When did you start your epic journey, and when did you decide you were going to make this a global effort?
Well, when I was 27, I was a co-leader of an expedition that drove around the world. We set a record for the largest automobile trip ever made. And then I wanted to go around the world from north to south by land. Nobody in the history of the world had ever gone around in a longitudinal direction, but I couldn't figure out any way to get the car across Antarctica. I tested it out, but the tires froze, the oil got slushy, just couldn't be done. And somewhere about 15 years ago, I said, let me see if I can go to every country in the world.
Yeah, this is something. The whole car thing, was it inspired by that? This is a cryptic movie reference. That old movie with Tony Curtis in it. There was a race around the world. Do you remember that movie? You probably saw it.
I not only remember the movie, but I did a lot of research on the race, and that was what inspired our drive around the world. In the old days, when they went around the world, they sort of took a Paris to Peking route. And we took an equatorial route when I led that expedition, and that enabled us to get more miles. And I just got kind of hooked on traveling. I love foreign countries, exotic cultures, weird foods, and I just love doing that. And I decided, I couldn't find any Americans who'd been to every country in the world, and I said, well, let me go see if I can be the first one to do all the 196 countries.
Yeah, most Americans haven't left this country at all, and many of them have good reason. They watch the news. But you've alluded to this, and you've encountered things along the way that the tourist boards of various countries would rather not publicize, right?
Oh, for sure.
Give us a couple of examples.
Well, let's see. We were attacked by flying crabs in Algeria. We had to blow our way out of a minefield.
Wait a minute. There are flying crabs?
Flying crabs?
Well, I could not identify them. I've even went to the Museum of Natural History and asked them. They looked like crabs about the size of a small dinner plate. They're sort of gray and hairy, and they can leap up about 4 to 5 feet high and maybe spring forward about 20 feet, which is why I call them flying crabs. They're attracted to light at night, and they just came attacking us, biting us on the neck, and they were really ferocious.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
See,
where do they have
like
those?
a horror film.
Where do we stay away from those? Where they?
Beach in Algeria, they had foot-long leeches. We jumped into the Mediterranean, and these leeches just sucked right onto us. There are a lot of bad guys out there. We had to blow our way out of a minefield in Morocco. Probably the worst. I came within literally 1 minute of being lynched in East Pakistan.
Oh, by a bunch of baddies, huh?
No, they were actually goodies. I turned out to be the baddie in their eyes. I heard that they were going to have an attack on the United States Information Agency, so I ran into this building across the street from the USIA to take pictures, ran up 4 floors, got out on the balcony, and 2 guys grabbed me. It turned out it was the Pakistan Ministry of Defense. It unfortunately turned out to be the day after they went to war with India, and they were sure I was an Indian spy. I mean, what else would I be doing running around their building with a camera? And they all started yelling, hang him, hang him, hang him. The janitor went, got a rope, threw it over the rafter, put the noose around my neck, and literally I was within a minute of being hanged.
And how'd you get out of that?
I think you got to read the book.
Oh, come on. Around the World in 50 Years. By the way, it's in the store at philhewlettandfriends.com. We do recommend that you get it. Were you ever at a point, perhaps that one, after that thing with the noose around your neck, where you just said, that's it, I don't need this, I'm going home?
No, it's, Winston Churchill once said, the most thrilling thing in life is to be shot at and missed. And I kind of found out to be true. I'm not really an adrenaline junkie, but there is a rush in, getting into hairy situations and getting out of them. It's sort of like I'm actually in California right now. I'm a truckee, and if you saw the way I was skiing yesterday, like right on the edge of self-control, you'd understand my kind of life philosophy there.
Yeah, well, you're a thrill seeker for sure. I imagine, okay, forget about the noose around your neck, but which sites, which countries left the most indelible memories on you?
Well, it depends on what you mean. I mean, if you're talking, let's say, women, Belarus was kind of hard to beat. They're all 5'10" tall. They look like they work out 3 times a day, and they're magnificent. Now,
you said Belarus, right? How do you spell that?
You're going to buy a ticket now?
Yep.
Yeah, he's on his way. Chris Martin, he's always looking for the ladies. The Belarusian ladies or something else.
Some of the old temples in Cambodia and Thailand and India. They're just some amazing sites. I will say this, and I'm not a chauvinist, there is no country that has it all except the United States. We really have it the best. We have the most diverse culture, the widest range of foods, and really tremendous natural beauty here. Nothing beats the United States.
Right, and if you try, you could get yourself into the same kind of pickles that you do in other parts of the world.
I probably could do that, but fortunately, I try to keep my nose clean here. My whole life, I've had only one traffic ticket.
Yeah, all right, but did your nose ever get runny? Did you get sick a lot while you were traveling?
I have not gotten sick, knock on wood, in 40 years. In fact, in addition to publishing this new book, Around the World in 50 Years, I have an e-book out called The Survival Manual for the Adventurous International Traveler, and it gives you all these tips on how not to get mugged and how not to get sick. And the main thing is don't drink the water. Don't drink the water. Don't let it get on your lips. If you're in the shower, keep an outward pressure. Don't brush your teeth with the water. Don't even rinse your toothbrush with the local water.
Yeah, makes sense. But you've got to eat, and I bet you've eaten some things. I keep thinking about the scene from that one Indiana Jones movie where they're passing around monkey brains and eyeballs and the fried tarantula and all that. Did you have to eat along the way? Anything like that?
Oh, sure, yeah. In Hong Kong, we were the guests of some people, and we didn't want them to lose face, and they took us to the restaurant, had a big round table, hole in the middle. Toward the end of the meal, the waiter came out with a monkey, put his head up through the hole in the table, pulled out a meat cleaver, hit him right across the skull, flipped his skull back, and the monkey's still alive. They gave us each a demi-tasse spoon, and they said, just go dig right in and you eat the monkey's brain. And they told me the monkey doesn't feel anything. They say if you're eating the brain, there are no nerve sensitivities.
Of course, nobody asks the monkey that question.
Nobody asked the monkey that question. He jabbered away for a few minutes, but I could not cause him to lose face. There were some things I ate that I thought would be terrible, but were really good. Like in Ghana, I ate rats. You would think a rat would not be something tasty. The flesh is like firm chicken. It's really good. And the rat tastes like wherever it's been. In other words, if it lived in, let's say, a sugarcane field, tasted sweet like sugar. If it lived in a pineapple field, tasted like pineapple. Now, I have not eaten any of the rats, let me make this clear, in the New York City subway system.
That could be different.
Hopefully they taste like pizza.
I assume they would taste like a combination of pizza, hot dogs, and Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody tell the mayor there's a solution coming. And you've seen so much of the world, and we're already talking solutions in the conversation here, but I suspect you've gained perspective on what the world needs to do to get its act together, geopolitically, economically, environmentally, or otherwise. Am I right?
Well, I have some concepts, but whether they can implement it, I think the main thing that has to be done, there somehow has to be more income equality around the world. You can't have 50% of the money belonging to the top 1% of the people. And a lot of these jihadis that I've met, these terrorists, they're actually not bad kids at heart, but they're hopeless. They're shunned by the communities where they live. They're at the bottom of the economic ladder. Unemployment rates are 25%. After 5 or 10 years for that. They just say, heck with it. I'm going to go kill a guy.
So you think if somebody were to give them a regular living and some money, they wouldn't want a death to America anymore?
Yeah, if there was some way to spread the education and spread the employment around, and a lot of the problems would disappear. I mean, not all of them, because, I don't want to sound anti-Muslim, but those people really, really seriously believe in their religion, and some of them take it to an extreme degree, and that I don't really know how to deal with.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people have come up with a good concept on that yet. Oh, but before we let you go, and I could talk to you for hours, frankly. Again, the book is Around the World in 50 Years. We're speaking with Albert Podell. He's the author. Tell us about the Podell potty paper rating.
Oh, okay. It's a pretty simple rating for telling you what condition economically and sociologically the country is in, and it's based on 7 ratings for the toilet paper available in the public restrooms, and it ranges from the highest, which is a number 1 grade, and that's for sort of soft, gentle white, and it goes all the way down through rough-colored, down to newspaper, and I think when you get into the number 6 ratings, there is no toilet paper. There's just usually a little bowl of water, and number 7 is no public toilets at all. And the only place that comes close to that is my home in New York City, I hate to say.
No toilets in New York City, or you're on the other end of the spectrum?
You try and find a public toilet in New York City and let me know how you do.
Oh, true. That is correct.
But other than Grand Central and Penn Station, they're hard to find, you know.
So if you find a public bathroom and they don't have the bowl of water, they don't have the toilet paper either, but they have a hose next to the toilet. You've seen those, right? Is that a 6 or a 7?
The one with the hose, it depends whether it's warm or cold water that comes out.
Oh, good answer. I like that. Again, the book, Around the World in 50 Years. Fascinating stuff, and just an honor to speak with you, sir. Albert Podell, thanks for being on the show.
It's a delight. Thank you, guys.
All right, the book's available in the store at philhewlettandfriends.com. Now, do you want to travel, or you just want to go up the street and see what America has to offer?
I don't know. I'd be ticked off if I went to all the countries and then you leave and they change the name. Like, do you have to go back and do a do-over?
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't think we've sold monkey brains to the culinary audience.
No.
However, the rats, I don't know. I'm thinking rats. I'm thinking we might go there. Hey, that's it for hour 1 of the program. So much more to come, including how much control did Hillary Clinton have over her personal emails when she was Secretary of State? Plus, would you eat something called the churro dog? Wait till you hear what that is. Those stories and more coming up in the second hour of Phil Hulett and Friends. Next!